promises transparent poll as Inspector General of Police deploys 21,000 police officers for peace conduct. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Emmanuel Akindibuwa. Welcome to the program, BKO.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the program, Emmanuel.
Always a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
All right, let the discussion start. All right, let's begin with politics in Lagos State, Nigeria's commercial nerve center. In a bid to wrestle power from the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, the state chapter of the People's Democratic Party PDP is leveraging on popularity of some celebrities to win the 2023 governorship election. The party's governorship candidate, Olajide Adediran, has confirmed Nollywood actress Funke Akindele as his running mate for the election. In a short video, the actress said she would be putting her acting career on hold to focus on politics and cause a change in welfare of people of Lagos. On his part, Adediran explained that he picked Funke as the PDP deputy governorship candidate, not just because she's an actress, but as a filmmaker and a lawyer who has been creating jobs for Nigerian youths for many years. Mikhail, Lagos APC says, first, before we go into the intricacies of this ticket, what does this mean for you?
I'm happy. Frankly, I'm happy. One of the problems I have with the elites in our country is their appetite for putting down those who volunteer to get involved in politics. You discourage them, you try to put them down, and at the end of the day, you still come and complain that politicians are wayward, they don't run the country properly, they are bad people. You have no reason to complain when you don't want to get involved, and the people who want to get involved are trying to discourage them. Funke is an example of the many success stories in our country. As an actress, she's excelled. No one can say that she's not done well. She's an employer of labor in her own right. So what makes the ordinary politician more qualified than Funke Akindele? I think she's even far more qualified than some of the people that we see all over the place, demonstrating charlatanism all over the place. So I'm happy that young people are showing more than a passing interest, especially in the 2023 election, and that's the way it should be. There is a big strength that our young people have not exploited. We look at the voting demographics, it tilts heavily in favor of the young people. So all that the young people need to do is come together. Stop being apolitical. Take politics seriously. Get involved in how your country is run. Ask the pertinent questions. Don't just sit there abusing people who have taking it upon themselves to ask those questions that you are not prepared to ask. You need to ask questions. We need to jump in to help build our country, and this is the way it starts. I'm not saying they are going to win the election. I mean, that looks to me like a long shot. That's my opinion. But I'm happy that at least these young people are coming out to take part in politics. And somebody said, if Zelensky can, a comedian, can become president of Ukraine, why not Funke becoming just a deputy governor? What's bad about that?
All right, Emmanuel, demographically looking at this and strategically, is this really definitely out of the norm for you?
No, absolutely. I mean, it's an interesting twist to the, norms or the conversation that is typical with Nigerian politics. Most times, the people that we get to elect is not based on any kind of track record. It's just based on maybe they have the money or they have the affluence or they could rig their way into office. But I think the nomination of Funke Akindele, although many may think the timing is a bit wrong, coming from the fact that she's just coming out from some personal issues that she's just trying to resolve. But of course, the courage this woman has displayed in the face of adversity. Remember, during the COVID-19 lockdown, she was accused of breaking the rules. She was taken to court. And the resoluteness and strength she displayed, coming back after that, apologizing when he needed to do that, and coming back to continue to do our job, shows the kind of strength and character that this personality possesses. And I think for a state, a vibrant state like Lagos, and for the demography of the youth that she represents, this will be a strong call, especially for the female child, that you could aspire, you could succeed, in your career and even get into public offices. You don't have to be maybe a puppet in the hand of the rich men or to be, in quotes, side chick for you to be recognized. So I think it's a good one. Yes, it may be a long call. Yes, they may not be able to get that success at this point. That's my opinion as well, based on the prevailing circumstances. But it's a it's a very significant move that an actress, of public image, a philanthropist like Funke Akindele is stepping into the ring to contest for one of the most coveted seats in public governance in Lagos.
All right, let's look at Lagos APC's stance on this. The Lagos APC says the Jandor Funke ticket underscores the seriousness of PDP to beat APC. BK, how workable is this for the election?
You mean that's what the PDP said?
That's what the Lagos APC says.
APC.
This ticket looks quite unserious.
Quite unserious?
Yes.
Well, that's their opinion. You don't expect them to say it's a perfect ticket. Even if both men are, even if both candidates are the greatest Puritans on earth, the APC will still condemn them.
Definitely.
That's the nature of politics. You don't say anything that will make your opponent smell like roses. No, you don't want your opponent to smell like roses. You will want to damage your opponent the best way possible. So these are young people, in my view, because in the past I had complained that our young people were simply interested in entertainment, were political, they don't want to get involved in politics. They see politics as a dirty game, they see politics as a scam. But right now, I will be behaving like a conscienceless person to use this medium to put down young people that I had accused of not getting involved in politics. If they will get involved in politics, that will make me happy. I want more and more of them to get involved in politics. And this is the example. In Rivers State, Tonto Dike is also
we have Baki W as
deputy
well in
governorship
Lagos.
candidate.
Baki W is also contesting for the House of Reps.
For the ADC.
Yes. In PDP as well in Lagos.
So I expect the APC in Lagos to put them down. They are in a contest and they want to win. They are not going to campaign for them. But it's a good move. I'm happy to see them contest. The more, the merrier, in my view.
Absolutely. Mano, would you like to say anything to that?
Just to add to what BQ has rightly pointed out, regardless of the result of this election, I think personalities like Funke Akindele, Banky W should not just take the result as being the final. They should continue to get involved in politics, not just because of the election. They should get involved in public discussions. They should get involved in current affairs. I think that will put them always in the consciousness of the people that they are actually serious and able to serve. That's why I said maybe the timing of Funke coming into this, it may be the issue. But the personality of Funke Akindele, I think she is eminently qualified to contest for that office. But maybe the timing after this, whatever the result may be after the elections, if she's really involved in this and is not as unserious as the APC is making it to look like, she should continue to get involved and perhaps contest for a public office in future beyond this general election.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's move on quickly. Despite warnings by the federal government to fuel marketers not to sell petrol above the approved pump price, they have gone ahead to increase it in Abuja. Several fuel stations now sell the product above the government's regulated price of 165 naira per litre. According to reports, some filling stations in Wuse areas of Abuja have started selling to buyers at prices as high as 190 naira per litre. Mikhail, I would confirm to you that I bought petrol yesterday at 190 naira per litre in Lagos here.
Yes, if things continue to degenerate, you are likely, you are most likely going to buy it at even a higher price. There is a need for government to intervene across board in that sector. There are all kinds of problems. Diesel has come to make matters more difficult for Nigerians. Diesel has come to make life difficult for marketers. Government is owing marketers bridging claims. I will explain. Because we want to sell petrol at the same price across our country, and tanker drivers come down to Lagos to lift the product and take to northern Nigeria, you have to pay them for lifting the product from here and taking it all the way to the most distant part of our country. So those bridging claims have been accumulating, and they are saying, look, you can't be owing us this much, you need to pay. That is a problem. A lot of these marketers are finding things very difficult because they are struggling, they are being owed here and there. Diesel has been fully deregulated. It means that if you want to bring it in from Europe and the Americas, you can go ahead. But you have to source your dollars by yourself. They are saying that most of the time they have to go to the black market and source for dollars at the rate of 600 naira to a dollar, unlike the official rate, which is 416 naira to a dollar. They want the CBN to intervene, make these dollars available for them so that they can bring it in. If they have access to the dollar, the price of if they have access to the dollar at the official rate, the price of diesel will come down. Now, because the price of diesel has gone up so high, the bridging claims that they used to make will naturally go up, because in March this year we were buying diesel at 255 naira per litre. In some places as high as 850 naira per litre. Today, in Maiduguri is 1,000 naira per litre. Now, that puts so much strain on tanker drivers and those marketers who have to lift from here and go all the way to the north, because it is diesel that you must buy and put in those trucks. So they are saying, look, our margins are shrinking daily, especially because of the cost of diesel. Let's look at it this way. In Abuja, for example, if you open your filling station at 6 a.m. and close at 6 p.m., you will have used up to 100 liters of diesel. Now, yes, because there's no light. Everywhere, there's no light. That drives up the cost of keeping yourself in business. And a lot of them would rather just operate for a few hours and close. It's because of the diesel. So they are saying, now, what do we do? You want us to continue to sell at the official rate, but the way things are now, we can't continue to sell at that rate, because the cost of diesel is driving up the cost of business generally. This is the problem that a lot of them have. So if you see a filling station that has fuel and refuses to sell, it is because it's thinking of how many liters of diesel it will have to use to power the filling station.
All right, Mikhail, we would definitely continue this conversation after this break.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move weigh in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
It was a bright sunny day in Agbala community. The community popular jingo has just heard a rumor and he has come to spread it to everyone.
You won't believe what I just heard,
he said.
That incident last month was not a robbery. It was carefully planned by the neighboring community.
It didn't take a lot for the people of Agbala to believe that the people of the neighboring community masterminded the attack, and off they were to war. However, only one person thought to call a friend in the community to check the information. By the time they realized the truth, nobody really remembered who brought the rumor. Fact check to be sure of the source of the information and its authenticity before spreading it or taking action. Fake news is dangerous.
This message is brought to you from the Centre for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the UK government.
Showing up in style inspires great confidence. IVM G5T appeals to class.
Time is of the essence. With IVM Kappa, business and meetings are always on the go.
Fun time with the family. Thank you to IVM Kingdom. IVM Kara is always stealing the show. Isn't she beautiful? Influence defines a great leader. IVM Seriki is Africa's commute king. Strong, reliable, and durable. With the concept of regionalization, Innocent Vehicle is committed to satisfying its customers with producing their everyday dream cars.
IVM, pride of Africa.
All right, welcome back to the program. Now I have with me in the studio Olabisi Deji Folutile. Welcome to the program, madam.
Thank you.
All right, before we went on that break, Bikio was making a very valid point. I would like you to continue with that.
Yes, I'm saying that for these marketers, their complaint is that, look, their margins are shrinking. Diesel costs especially is the main reason some of them are finding it difficult to break even at this time. So they are just looking for ways to stay in business. I think the idea of thinking that we can sell petrol at the same price across Nigeria, I think at some point we have to tell ourselves that it's not practicable. When you go to the east, they don't buy at the price we buy it here in Lagos. Of course, the tank farms are close to us here in Lagos. So some of those costs, people who have filling stations here may not incur some of the costs that I'm talking about, except the cost of powering their fuel stations with diesel. But generally, the costs are going up. It's going to be difficult to keep the price at that 165. It will get to a point that people will just be selling at the price that they think is good enough for them. And how many operatives do they have at DPR to arrest people? In fact, when you go, it's only in the heart of Lagos that you see people try to sell at the official price. Once you step out, you see them selling at any price that they like.
All right, Mikhail, I would like you to really buttress on appropriate pricing.
Appropriate pricing will bear in mind, yes, the landing costs and the other costs that will be incurred on top of the landing costs. So that, if for example, where people have to pay so much for diesel to power their fuel stations, where public electricity is not regular, these are extra costs that normally these people will not bear. But now they are forced to bear it. And for diesel price to move from 255 within a few months to about 850 in some cases, and even 1,000 in places like Maiduguri, how do you expect that a man who wants to keep his fuel station going will continue to keep the generators working with diesel that I bought at 1,000 naira per liter, and you want him to keep the fuel station working for 10 hours a day? It's not going to work. He has to add those costs on top. What I'm saying is, look, I don't think that we can continue to keep everybody buying petrol at the same price across the country. In the very distant parts of our country, marketers will feel the need to add the costs that have been incurred. Even the maintenance of vehicles, because of dollar illiquidity and all that, it's gone up. If you are buying spare parts for your car now, everything has gone up. So to even keep those trucks working is a lot more expensive now than before. So all of this will come into play. I'm not surprised that they are adding a few nairas to the cost, because they must make money. At the end of the day, they have to pay their staff. They have to keep the business going.
All right,
that's what we are seeing.
All right, so let's quickly take a look at the battle between IPMAN and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority over alleged payment of some money, 74 billion naira, as transport claims. Now, how do we get over it? Because they continue to complain that this is one of the major reasons why there is non-availability of fuel.
No, they threatened that they would down tools if government did not pay their bridging claims. We have what we call Petroleum Equalization Fund. But the whole essence of it is to keep the price at the same level across Nigeria. But to do that, government must pay those tanker drivers that are lifting the product from Lagos going all the way to the north. So it's those claims that they have left unpaid for 12 months that ballooned to that level. Now they are saying, look, how do we stay in business when we have claims that you refuse to clear? So government has to move quickly, pay them their outstanding bridging claims, because it's like a contract. You have to fulfill your own end of the bargain.
All right, Alabsi.
Well, I think that bridging cost is also part of what we refer to as subsidy in Nigeria, because if you look at it properly, the landing cost of crude or petrol in a place like Lagos is not the same thing as it is in a place like Maiduguri, Sokoto, or in the eastern parts of the country. So when we talk about subsidy, the cost of also making these products available at the same price in all parts of the country is part of what is put together to be called a subsidy. And usually this money is supposed to be, it's not even supposed to be accumulated. But I guess because of the challenges that the country is facing, we have problems everywhere. That's why that money is building up. But then you now wonder that if we have released the money for subsidy, how come that we are still struggling to pay the bridging cost? Because it's part of the subsidy regime that we are talking about. So that money, that accumulation shouldn't be there at all. And for Ipman, even talking about costing, you know, Ipman last month even told its men in Lagos to sell the products at a price that will be profitable to them. And I guess the problem in Abuja is because they are being monitored. Like BKO said, in many places in Lagos, the product does not even go for 165 naira.
Absolutely.
Yeah, on last week Sunday, I bought it for 200 naira somewhere in Ota per liter. And in my area, I bought it 180 naira. As we speak, the product sells for 180 naira and there is no queue. But because nobody is actually going there to reprimand anybody, I guess these people can do what they like to do. Unlike in Abuja, which is the Federal Capital Territory, where they are being monitored.
All right, thank you. Now let's move on. Most times, it takes disasters to jolt us into reality of decay in our system. The July 5 terrorist attack on the Medium Security Custodial Center, Kuje, in Abuja, is another instance. The incidents which led to the escape of more than 800 inmates. The Controller General of Nigeria Correctional Service, Aliru Nababa, said the country's prisons are not fortified enough to withstand the kind of attacks they have been subjected to in recent times. Nababa admitted that they received intelligence on the possibility of the attack, but information was not narrowed down to the Kuje Custodial Center. He stressed the need to fortify facilities at custodial centers, not only with highly skilled personnel, but also with new structures that could withstand the new trend of crime in Nigeria. Mikhail, this is not the first person who has made these reservations, ultimately public. Who is not doing what, and especially when warnings have been given?
We have no reason in the world to allow the kind of attack that happened in Kuje to happen. No reason. One is too close to the seat of power to even be taking that kind of risk. We have military bases all around the federal capital. The Aso Rock itself is surrounded by no less than 4 barracks. So why can't we protect the major prison in the seat of power? Why can't we protect it? And the way to protect it is to get all the armed forces involved, bring soldiers, enough soldiers, bring enough civil defense people, bring even the custodial officers themselves. Put an armored tank in the vicinity. Let's show the people who are breaking prisons in our country and freeing hardened criminals that we are ready for them. The way it is now, even saying that they are not fortified to withstand this kind of attacks is embarrassing to hear people talk in this manner. If are they saying, for example, that if those guys will come back tomorrow, they will succeed again? Okay. Is that what they are telling us? In Akwa Ibom, for example, they have about 4 or 5 prisons. You can imagine what will happen if criminals just storm those prisons and set people free in all of those prisons. Uyo, Kota, Abasi, all of those places where they are. You can imagine the effect it will have on the society to release a lot of people who are on death row, allow them to start roaming free. This is what happened. More than 800 prisoners released in Kuje, and they operated for more than 2 hours. How do you explain that? They even had the time to preach to inmates. I mean, there's no excuse for this to happen. Yes, we know that in Nigeria people don't resign. People don't resign. They don't leave when they have failed their nation. But no one should come and be telling us that, oh, these prisons are not built to withstand the kind of attacks that they... I mean, what? those guys came with IEDs. Of course, you should expect that will happen. But we've seen them bring maximum violence to some military formations, and they could not penetrate because we protected those military formations. I've seen them try to take over even some towns in Borno State, and they didn't succeed because we fortified those places. We provided enough security. That's what we should do across all those custodial centers. If we do that, once they fail 1 or 2 times, if they fail like 2 times on the bounce, this trend will stop. Because they would tell themselves, we may not succeed though. But the more they keep succeeding, the more these attacks will continue. Because I think about 11 occasions now, they've broken our jails.
All right, so Olabisi, I would have loved us to talk about the lack of urgency in taming this, but we already have statements coming out from that quarter, so it would be a waste of time for us to talk about that. Now, Kuje Custodial Center attack has happened. What lessons would you have thought the federal government would have taken away from this and would have urgently implemented as we speak?
Well, from the way the correctional box spoke, I don't think they are learning any lesson, and I don't also foresee them doing anything urgent to forestall a repeat of this. Yes, I agree that our prisons were not built with terrorist attacks in mind. It is true, because the prisons or the correctional homes or centers, as they are called now, are for people, offenders, criminals, and all of that. Nobody envisaged that terrorism will get to this point in this country as it is now. However, we didn't just get here. This is something that we've been battling with terrorism for even more than 20 years now, or close to 20 years. So you will have expected the proactive government to make special provisions for that kind of development. And you also wouldn't expect that terrorists will be put in the same correctional centers as other types of criminals. And because if you really know terrorists for who they are, that these are bloodthirsty people that do not, that are unrepentant, and they are also used to getting so much money from people that they kidnap. You can imagine people getting up to 800 million naira from just 7 captives. These are people that they have access to so much money, they have access to weapons, they have access to arms, and they are bloodthirsty. You don't put them together with even normal hardened criminals. I thought that we ought to have built special centers that are well fortified for terrorists. And this is something that should still be done now, instead of us talking about the fact that what we have are not enough or fortified enough. Let's do what is now needful, now that we are confronted with this problem.
All right, thank you very much. Let's move on to Osun State elections. The 2022 governorship election in Osun State is upon us, and all eyes are on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to conduct a credible poll. Ahead of the election on Saturday, INEC said out of the 1.9 million registered voters in the state, 1.5 million voters, or 76%, have collected their permanent voter cards. And as of Sunday, 10th of July, the Commission has promised to ensure a level playing field for all political parties. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba, said 21,000 police officers would be deployed for the July 16 governorship election. Baba, who stated this at INEC stakeholders meeting in Osogbo, insists that the deployment is not to intimidate residents, but to prevent miscreants from hijacking or disrupting the process. INEC says 1.5 million PVCs have been collected. Any implication for this election, or how impressed are you?
Well, I think it's, the rate of collection is impressive, it's significant, because if INEC registered 1,955,657 and 1,479,595, or 76% have collected. I think 76% is a good pass mark. And don't forget, apart from this election, we have elections next year. So there could be some people who may not take part in this election, but the general elections that we have next year, they are going to be active participants. So I expect that the collection will continue. If the collection continues and they are able to push it up to like 86 or even 90%, that would be very, very impressive. And that would suggest to us that turnout for the general election and this one may just be impressive too. So I think that the rate of collection shows that our people are taking the matter of who governs them seriously. Because for people to even come out to register in the first place, you know the sacrifice that's involved. Some of them will go and line up as early as 5 a.m. It's because they want to be involved in the decision making, in choosing their leaders, and that is that's significant. I'm impressed. I hope that this trend continues. Our people need to take politics seriously. If we don't get involved in picking our leaders, then whoever emerges as our leader, we have no right to complain.
All right, Olabisi, let me have your thoughts about that.
Yeah, I also think that the fact that INEC is also using is also using some kind of technology now. More technology is being deployed in election. It means that votes are likely to count more now, and because of that, your voter's card now matters. I think for Osun, I don't think we've got this large percentage in recent times of collection rates. So I also expect that it's not going to end at collection rate. People are going to go out and actually vote, because at the end of the day, the percentage of people that vote on election day is what really matters, not just having the voter's card and putting it under one's bed. So let's wait till Saturday and see also the number of voters that will go out, and now compare the figure to the number of people that got their voter's card.
All right, joining us to give us more updates is our senior political correspondent, Ayodele Ozubeko. Hello, Ayo, good evening.
Good evening, Jumoke.
All right, can you quickly give us what's the mood like in Osogbo ahead of Saturday's election?
Yes, Jumoke, it's all about campaign. And yesterday, the All Progressive Congress, they actually had their mega rally and at the stadium. Today, I just came back from the mega rally and the grand finale, the final rally of the Labour Party, where they had their presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, in attendance. I think this will be the first time that Mr. Peter Obi will be attending a rally like this. And out of curiosity, a lot of people, Peter Obi has this momentum ahead of the 2023 election. A lot of people, out of curiosity, came out to come and see Mr. Peter Obi, the Director General of his campaign, Doyo Hukwe, Wale Okuni, a member of the Third First, and they all came to rally support for the former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, that's Honorable Lasu Yusuf. Now, Lasu Yusuf used to be a member of the All Progressive Congress, and he wasn't satisfied with the fallout of the primaries. Lasu Yusuf had to seek greener pasture in the Labour Labour Party. Sorry, he had always been a member of the All Progressive Congress, a one-time member of the People's Democratic Party, from the People's Democratic Party to the APC, and from the APC down to the Labour Party now. And he wants to make his mark, and he wants to latch upon the momentum of the Labour Party across the country to make his mark ahead of Saturday's election. He expressed optimism that he is going to win that election, and Mr. Peter Obi is going to be back to Osogbo to actually celebrate his victory party. That rally was held at the Women Development Center. I have a package that will be played later on in our subsequent news bulletin. And moving on now, we hear that the former vice president, that's Atiku Abubakar, is going to be in town tomorrow to lead the campaign, the final campaign of Senator Adeleke, that's of the People's Democratic Party. Most of the gladiators turning up. And if you agree with me, the three dominant political parties that people are talking about today, the People's Democratic Party, the All Progressive Congress, and the resurgence of the Labour Party. Everybody, Mr. Peter Obi was here, Bola Tinubu was here yesterday, and Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is expected in town for the final rally of the People's Democratic Party. That is, tomorrow is going to be the last day. After 12 tomorrow, that will be the final whistle for campaign. So on Friday, we're going to have security on display, show of force, and the Independent National Electoral Commission. And don't forget that since the Ekiti election, they resolved not to be taking the sensitive materials to the Central Bank of Nigeria for safekeep. So it was experimented in Ekiti State that, look, they will bring it to INEC office, all accounts, their headquarters here in Osogbo, and they will distribute across the over 3,000 polling units and distribute to the local government before election date, and they put measures in place to make sure that they are not feeling the absence of that safekeeping of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now going to Beavers, for Ekiti election, it recorded more than 70% in terms of the pass mark. It was given a pass mark of more than 70%, and they didn't have the issues recorded in Anambra, the issues recorded in other states that they've had this staggered election before now. The Beavers machine performed better in Ekiti, and they were able to get their IT department to put things in shape. So far, so good. Ahead of Saturday's election, we hope that INEC will improve on its performance in Ekiti State. But the INEC chairman said something at the stakeholders meeting yesterday. He expressed a kind of fear about the new syndrome creeping into our electoral system, that's vote buying. There's no how you can set up a system, permanent system from the polling units. Your results should be uploaded from ECAT and everything. But if the umpire, if they're able to monitor this system, that does not stop that menace of vote buying. In Ekiti State, we saw the resurgence of this very, very worrisome phenomenon, vote buying, and they are looking forward that, they will be able to work with security operatives in Osun State to make sure that they curtail the increase in vote buying. But politicians that are capitalizing on the unemployment rate, the poverty in the land, to weaponize the poverty.
Now, INEC has announced 76% collection rate for the PVCs, meaning that more than 1.9 million people registered, but a little over 1.4 million of such people have collected the PVCs. Their PVCs. Does this have anything to do with the importance that the people of Osun State attached to the election, to this particular election? Do you see this translating to huge turnout on election day?
On Saturday. If you look at the INEC, if you look at their demography, and if you look at the latest statistic they've churned out, I'm sure Osun State is going to be number 1 or number 2 in terms of PVC collection rates, as in they've done so well. Maybe they are preparing for the 2023 general election, or they are preparing for this election. But for Osun State to have recorded over 75% of that collection rate, I'm sure that it's, waking up to their responsibility that they have to elect somebody that they want on Saturday. So the interest is high, and I see a kind of election that is going to be keenly contested. Keenly contested. I don't want to believe that people will go through this, because it's another thing for you to register through the Independent National Electoral Commission. It's another thing for you. A lot of abandoned PVC in INEC now. Over 1 million nationwide abandoned PVC that people were not able to pick. So your ability to pick up your PVC is that you want to do something with that PVC. And Osun is a test case that the level of political awareness, it's quite encouraging, especially from the South, because we've not seen this kind of thing in the South before. Because the turnout, the collection rate, turnout for election is always very, very low in the South. When it comes to the northern part of the country, the awareness is higher. So Saturday, we are going to now juxtapose the number of people that collected the PVC with the number of people that will actually turn out for the exercise on Saturday. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Senior Political Correspondent Ayodele Ozuweko. Thank you for the updates. Thank you very much. All right, let's get back to our discussion. Like Ayo confirmed, there is so much optimism in Osogbo already. But then let's go into this. I remember for the Ekiti governorship election, we commended INEC's output at the election, especially with improved technology. Bikere, is there any hope of improvement on Saturday?
Yes, I'm confident that INEC will continue to improve. If you look at the trend, the elections are getting better in terms of the fidelity of the process. I think that we have to admit that things are getting better. Look at the way the Edo election went. Before INEC announced the results, we already knew the winner because we were monitoring it, via the INEC portal. The same thing happened in Ondo State, where the off-season election took place after that of Edo. They followed the same pattern. The people were able to know the winner before the official announcement because you can actually monitor the pattern of voting, how the process was going through the INEC portal made available to the public. So I want to believe that INEC will keep improving. INEC will keep justifying the huge financial outlay at its disposal. So, and the only problem is what we talked about earlier, the matter of vote buying. No matter the number of reforms that we introduce to make our elections more credible, it diminishes us as a people to see the way politicians are buying people's conscience, on election day, giving them money, so that they can vote for them. And if INEC says don't bring your phone to the voting centers, I think that security agents should be able to enforce that because people are now using these phones to snap their ballots so that they can show those who will pay them. I mean, it's something that I hate to talk about. I want to see the law enforced in Osun State. People should not go to the point of snapping their ballot and then going to line up somewhere where they will be paid. The security agents must rise to the occasion. Wherever they see this, they must move in and arrest such people. Politicians bribing people to vote for them, they also deserve to be arrested. No one should go against the law of the land.
All right, Olabisi, let's talk about deployment of 21,000 police personnel. We had this same number at the Ekiti governorship election, but we still saw a very high level of votes trading. What exactly should stand out this time?
Well, for Osun election, I think we should prevent violence at all costs.
Okay.
You remember the last election, there was some inconclusive elections in some parts of the state because of violence and all of that. So this time around, we want to see a very, very peaceful election across all the local government areas, including the interior places in that state. 21,000 policemen, they are quite huge, and they should be able to do much. But how many of them will be deployed?
Strategically?
Yes, and that is what is very important. Let them look at the volatile areas and ensure that they deploy more people, more force to those areas to prevent any form of ballot snatching. Because you know that this time around now, with the BMS and all the improvements in INEC's and technological deployments, there is a lot of improvements. And even the fact that once you cast your vote, it's being counted, you count it from the ward, and you know what it is, and it goes straight to the INEC central portal and all of that. So the possibility of manipulating figures has actually reduced to a large extent. So what we are likely to see is to see some people that know that they are not strong in certain areas trying to invoke violence so that they can disrupt the system. That is what should be fought against this time around. We should make sure that that does not happen. And also, this issue of vote buying, I think we need to deal with it. But unfortunately, we in Ekiti, I don't think we have prosecuted anybody for...
We only saw a few persons that have been arrested.
I have not seen that case go beyond arrest. And if we don't prosecute, we are not discouraging the act.
All right, so INEC just confirmed to us that INEC has the fears already of vote buying. And I know you always call this a very shameful trend.
Yes, INEC can only try. But it's up to the security agencies, and I think it's up to the politicians themselves to change their ways. INEC said it was going to redesign the voting cubicles so that you can't spy on the person voting easily. But we've seen situations in which politicians positioned people, positioned even security men who are seen dispensing money to people on the queue right there. As they were collecting their ballots, they were giving them money. I saw a video from Bauchi State. This is not fiction. This is what I saw. The INEC official sat down and was giving people money right there. Nobody behaved like this thing was wrong. So how can we make this shameful trend a part of our culture? We've got to find a way to stop it. This rubbishes the whole essence of trying to find an electoral system that makes everyone happy. Because the person who has been outspent, or the one who has not got money to buy votes on election day, no matter what he's got to offer, he will not be happy.
All right.
So we must find a way to stop it. The National Assembly must come up with a law, except that some of them too could actually be one of among people buying votes. But
right.
They should be able to come up with a law that terribly criminalizes vote buying. You know, something that punishes vote buying sufficiently.
All right. Thank you very much, Bikeo. That's all we can take on the program today. Thank you, Madam Olabisi. Thank you for the robust contribution. All right, that's all on Journalist Hangouts. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11. Join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangouts on Sunday. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. You're watching ShopX TV, home to some of the most popular international brands in Africa, including Papa Chef, MyFit Jeans, Genie Bra, the Power XL Air Fryer, the NutriBullet, and more. ShopX